Neo-evolution was basically a term used to describe the idea or version of evolution that people, unless change was forced on them by factors beyond their control. So, with that, that became very popular, and it's in the 1930s and became well known in the 1970s in neo-evolution. Some of the things like that, the primary tenets of that, I would say, suggest that evolution involves trials of characteristics being passed on from parents to their children. So that's basically of Charles Darwin's natural selection. Um, that's part of it. For that example, I would say of this is birth control, artificial inseminations. Um, birth control prevents life from happening. Um, Artificial insemination basically is for people that, women who genetically can't have kids. So there is a study. Actually, this already happened to a woman, 66 years old. She wanted to have a baby, and so what the doctors did, with the help of doctors in Romania, they actually had a fertilized egg and input it into the 66-year-old woman. She ended up having a baby, and now she's 80 years old and have an 18-year-old. I think something like that, it's great for people that genetically can't have kids. Um, Birth control, teenagers, there's a lot of, teenagers having kids. I think birth control can help that. I'm all for it. Um, Modification of genetics is a different story. You know, um, that goes in the theory of Charles Darwin natural selection. I think it interferes with that because you're changing something that you already born with. Um, the question number three, potential benefits, like I said, of the technology of birth control and also artificial insemination. Birth control prevents teenagers from having kids. Artificial insemination actually gives life, to women who can't have kids. I think it's great. And some of the things that can be a potential drawback is it ethical? Is it very ethical for us to do that? For us to really control whether or not we should have a kid or not. Um, with that too, there are some countries like China, it's so all overpopulated, so they only allow just one boy, one girl. Anything more than that, it will be hard because it's not much resources that they can have, what they can give to the children. Um, I would say that should we continue to pursue this form of technology? Yeah. The reason why is because, like I said, for kids, teenagers to have babies at 16 years old, I think that is they're not ready, mature for that. So I think that would help out. Um, Artificial insemination, you know, a lot of women inherit genetics that they can't have kids. I'm sure they want to start a family, and I think it's great that we have a technology that can do that. So I'm all for them too. The genetic modification, I'm not for it because if you're born some type of way, I think you should stay. In my opinion, you should stay that way. But people feel different. They want to be different. They want to look different. Um, in Europe, there's actually doctors who change the eye colors. It's for people. Um, I think it's over here as well, but people do that so they can look different. They can look like someone else. At the end of the day, the two things that I do agree with is the birth control and the artificial insemination.